And as other people come on, that's great. But um, we're going to go ahead and jump into this and get running. So, first thing I want to do is just kind of give a quick rundown of the format of this class. Maybe similar, maybe different than what you've done in the past. We've set this up more as a meeting than a webinar. Reason being, I want you guys to be able to ask your questions. I want you guys to be able to share your experiences. I want you to be able to tell me if I say something doesn't work and you say, wait a minute, that's worked for me before. I want to have some dialogue. At the same time, I want that dialogue to be controlled. So that's why Jay's here. Jay's going to kind of manage everybody. We don't want a bunch of background noise. So you're all coming in muted. We're going to ask that you remain muted unless we ask for your input or your question or something. But if you can just do your raise your hand feature or type something into the chat, Jay's going to catch that. And then we'll let you unmute yourself so we can have some dialogue. Um, I love teaching classes in person. That's where I feel that I excel the most. I get the feedback the most. And it's really hard to do that when we have people from 4 different states here. In person doesn't work really well. So we've got the original Midwest key people. And then for those of you that don't know, I'll introduce myself. My name is Matt Thompson. I was I guess the first agent, the first key agent in Colorado. Mike Chavez, who's on the call, was kind of the hero of Colorado, and he stepped up and agreed to take on the what we call employing broker. Some of you guys call it broker in charge. And Mike started Key Realty in Colorado, and I was his first person to jump on board with him just because I love him as a leader. And I loved Key, and I just didn't want to be in charge. So as soon as Mike agreed to be in charge, and I jumped on with him. So we've got a group here. I'm in the Denver area. Mike and his team are out in the Grand Junction area, which is the prettier version of Colorado. I'm in what we call West Kansas, but people still like to show the Rockies when they talk about Denver. But they're pretty far west of us. So, a little bit about me, just so you know who is teaching you this and why we're doing this. This is year number 21 that I've been a realtor. 14 of those 21 years, I either managed a brokerage or ran my own brokerage, or was an employing broker, that sort of a deal. I've had a lot of success in real estate. I've sold just over 700 homes, so just shy of 30 a year on average for the 21 years. Um, and blogging and social media played a big, big role in that. So in 2008 through 2010, I was in the Seattle area selling homes there and was pretty convinced while the rest of the country was going through this big economic downturn, Seattle thought we were exempt from it. We had Boeing, we had Starbucks, we had REI, we had Nordstrom. There was no way we were going to experience this short sale and foreclosure mess that the rest of the country was already in. I was wrong. We were just late to the party. So my business crashed. And in 2008, I sold 4 houses. When you're coming off of selling 30 ish, that's a little bit of a change in lifestyle. At the time, I was with a big national franchise, and on the cover of Realtor magazine, there was a picture of a gal who was also part of my franchise, but she was in the Minneapolis area, and it said Real Estate Blogger of the Year. And I read the article and I didn't understand it, so I called her and I said, "Hey, congratulations on being the Real Estate Blogger of the Year. What is a blog?" And she led me into it, agreed to coach me, and I started blogging in 2008. And in 2008, I went from selling 4 homes to 2009, where I sold 91 homes and was able to do that for the next 3 years, largely because of short sales, largely because of blogging. So, what I would love to know right now, I just kind of want to know who I'm talking to. Would you guys put in the chat, do you have a blog? And you can put, yes, I love doing it, or yes, I have one, but I haven't written in it since 2008. No, I don't have a blog. Could you just throw in the chat real quick, kind of where you are in terms of blogging. So quite a few no blogs. Got one person who loves it, people who are interested. Jim, I love it. You've got a face for video. We're going to talk about that. Um, Perfect. So most of you are looking like you're not currently blogging. I want to walk you through my story a little bit and then kind of get into why. So I was very active on blogging from 2008 through 2012. I was doing about 150 to 200 posts a year. I was getting about 12,000 unique visitors a month on my website. That was driving my real estate business. And then social media, Facebook, Twitter, at the time, it was a thing called Active Rain, really started taking precedence and the blogging started dying. And so I quit blogging, just kind of went into social media and I floundered for a long time. Recently got back into blogging and have seen not only my engagement online, but my business go up. So I want to talk about how, for those of you that are like, now I'm on Facebook or I've got social media, I want to talk to you about why I feel this is going to be a great supplement to what you're doing. Okay. So let's start. I mean, real basic. And I also want to throw this out too. We're going to have this is going to be a two-part class. There's going to be a follow-up to this in a month on November 5th, I think is what we've got scheduled. And we're going to dive really deep in that second part into actually writing blogs. And so we're going to kind of do a little bit more of a workshop on that one. This is going to be pretty informational. And my goal is still that you walk away from this with some tangible action items that you can put into effect over the next 4 weeks to really get ready for it. So blog in its most basic point is just, it's short for weblog. It's an online journal. You notice Jim posted in the comments that he does vlogging. That's just a video log. Does it replace your static website? It can. It doesn't have to. I feel that apps have replaced your static website. I feel that social media may have replaced your static website. Blogging is something that can be in addition to, or it can be instead of. What I don't want it to become is just another thing to do. So the big question then is always, do I need to do this to be successful in real estate? Because the shiny object syndrome is huge in real estate. And I'm terrible at this. I'm assuming that those of you in Ohio and Indiana and Michigan have state fairs. We've got a big state fair here in Colorado, and I cannot go by myself. My wife has to go with me because there's a vendor hall in the state fair. And it is this massive, massive room with booth upon booth upon booth of things that nobody would ever possibly need. And I walk out of there with at least one of everything. I have some of the coolest sprinklers that you could ever imagine, even though we've got an artificial turf lawn. I have got some amazing uh, tire chains for my tires, even though it really doesn't snow in Denver all that much. People think it does, but it doesn't. I have got so many things. I have got leashes. I'm not joking. I shouldn't tell you. I'm going to tell you. I started. I have leashes for my daughter's chickens that I got at the fair so that she could take her chickens for a walk. She did use them once just to make me feel okay about my purchase and then let me know that a 14-year-old girl does not want to be walking chickens on a leash anywhere. So, anyway, the shiny object syndrome in real estate is worse than it is at the county fair. Everybody's telling you what you need to do to be successful. So, do you need a blog to be successful? No. There are literally hundreds of tools that will help you increase your real estate business. This is just one of those. There are also literally hundreds of tools that are going to take you away from what needs to be done. In my time as a real estate coach, the people I was coaching oftentimes were selling 6 to 8 homes a year. They were making some money, but not enough to call it a living. And when I would ask them if they had done certain activities, they're like, I just don't have time. And at the risk of sounding really rude, my question would always be, what are you doing? How can you be selling a home every other month and not have time. Like I sell 2.5-ish to 3 homes a month, and I have plenty of time. Like my wife is a school teacher. If she taught 3 classes a month, I don't think that she would find herself overwhelmed. So what I found out is that people are just doing things. They're looking at the MLS. They're trying to make their flyers. They're trying to set up their website. They're designing their social media page. They're doing the next shiny thing. I don't want blogging to be a tool that just takes you away from what you should be doing. It should be something that is enhancing what you're doing. Before I get into the common objections, I'm going to ask you guys to put some in a second too, but I feel like I need to talk about that last line on that last slide. If it's taking you away from what you should be doing, I guess the question is, what should you be doing? My opinion, personally, is you should be making face-to-face contacts with people. I'm a big Brian Buffini fan. I'm in the Buffini coaching program. I have been for a couple years. I don't buy leads anywhere. Okay, I've never done a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead. I don't pay to market my blog. All of those things work. There are people who buy Zillow leads who make several hundred thousand a year. There are people who do paid online advertising who make several hundred thousand a year. I don't do that. So when I talk about what you should be doing, I feel it's you should be building relationships. And and I shouldn't say should. A great way to run your business is to build a lot of relationships. I love being a referral based realtor. Even when was selling 90 to 100 homes a year there for those 3 years, it was largely referral based, and the blog supplements that. So let's hop into it and look. Common objections. The reason people tell me that they don't blog. Well, I'm not a good writer. Perfect. If you are a good writer, if you're looking for proper writing techniques, it can hold you back. And a blog that should take you 5 minutes will take you an hour. I don't know what to blog about. Perfect. I'm glad you're here. We're going to set all that up for you. This was my own objection. Blogs are outdated. I just use Facebook and Instagram. And now it's probably TikTok and some other social media site that I've never heard of. Blogs are going to allow you to reach an audience that social media never can. And blogs can increase your social media presence. So I'm going to encourage you to kind of hold off on that objection if that's yours. Here's me being rude again. Blogging takes too much time. I'm too busy. Really? You're not too busy. If you are a full-time realtor selling less than 50 homes a year on your own, you're not too busy. If you're a part-time realtor or if you're selling more than 50 homes a year, fine. You might be too busy, but we'll kind of work on that as well. You can time block this in. It doesn't have to take a ton of time. Okay. Couple final things, and then I want to hear from you guys a little bit. Other common objections, I'm just going to hire somebody to do it. And there are all sorts of companies that will do your blogs for you. That's fine. But then people aren't going to get to know you. There's nothing authentic about hiring somebody to do your blog for you. I heard this one when I was teaching a class. That's why it got put to the bottom. I was teaching a class about 6 months ago, and someone said, "Hey, I'm just too late for the party. I haven't started my blog. It's done." Now's the perfect time. There's very, very, very few people who are blogging, so jump in and do it. And then what we've already talked about, hey, this is just another thing to do. If this is just another thing for you to do, then don't do it, please. But if it's something that you really want to do, hop into it. Are there objections to blogging that I have not put here? If there's some reason that you don't blog that I haven't talked about in these last 2 slides, throw that in the chat for me real quick, just so I know, again, kind of where we're thinking and how to address that. Jay, my little chat button is not lighting up at all. Is anything coming in or no?
Nope, nothing so
Okay,
far.
perfect. That means I've heard oh, somebody just jumped in because they felt bad for the teacher. I like it. Okay. Gina, perfect. That's actually going to be one of our things coming up. She says, how do I get traffic to my blog? How do people find it? We are going to talk about that here in this hour. Mike, we use TikTok and Instagram Reels. I think that's awesome. I think that this will lead to something other than the audience that you have. Um, and I don't have TikTok, so you can speak to that. You can be the next teacher on that one. And you have already taught me how to use Instagram Reels, so I'll have to start working on that. Okay, perfect. So those are objections. So now let's look at kind of two things. What do you blog about? And then how do people find your blog? What do you blog about? Seriously, this is like we mentioned earlier, this is like your web journal. I want you to blog about anything and everything. If you have community events, concerts in the park, um, farmers markets, Christmas tree lightings in your town, community garage sales, any big community events, I want you to blog about it. And a lot of people are like, well, why? The town website already puts it out. There's already posters. Because again, we're trying to make you the relevant person. And in just a minute, I'm going to talk to you kind of about how you do community events and all these things, um, and what makes you different. Okay, so any community events. This next one has been my favorite one to do over the decades. Blog about interesting people in the community. We've got a gal. She has a son who's in the same grade as my youngest daughter. She was the last American to win a medal in the Olympic triathlon. So in the Sydney Olympics, she got the silver medal in the triathlon. And I got to sit down with her and interview her and do a blog post on her. And that one got, I want to say it got like 1,700 views in the first 3 months. And part of that was through linking, part of it was through her sharing it. And we'll talk about the rest of it. But it was literally just an interview with her. So if you have any interesting people in your community, um, we've currently have the boy that my daughter just went to homecoming with, which I'm still trying to recover from because my freshman daughter should not yet be going to homecoming, but she did. Her dad is a former quarterback for the the boy's dad that she went with was a former quarterback for the Broncos. So I just got the chance to sit down, and he's not Peyton Manning. He was not that level. Think more Jake Browning than your star Joe Burrow. Okay. So he was a backup quarterback for the Broncos, but super interesting person. Got a chance to interview him. Okay. If there's interesting people, that's a chance for you to sit down and talk to somebody and get people to know you and know you well. Hopefully, you are all real estate agents, and that's why you are with Key Realty. Do real estate updates. I literally just do mine monthly. So every month I do the 7 main stats: active homes for sale, number of new listings, number of pendings, number of solds, list price to close price ratio, days on market, and expireds. And I just do a real estate update. Any real estate tips or facts that you have come through, you can do those. Probably the most financially lucrative for me has been blogging about schools. And you got to be careful on this one because there's fair housing laws. And you don't want to be steering, you don't want to be saying this is a great school, this isn't a good school. What I learned from my real estate coach, and this was in 2010, you don't want to get to know the principal, you want to get to know the secretaries at the school. They know everybody. So I went to every single school in our community. I was in a small community, so we had 4 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 1 high school. I went and got to know all those secretaries. I interviewed them and I asked them, what do you love about this school? And I just did kind of a profile about their school. When new families would come into the area and say, hey, we're looking at moving here, we need to figure out how to enroll our school, I taught those secretaries to tell them, hey, we've got a dad here. And whether I was a dad there or not, we have a guy who's a real estate agent. He does free community tours. If you would like to get in touch with him, he will give you a tour around the neighborhood, show you the different neighborhoods, show you the different houses. Without exaggerating, I would say for a 4 or 5 year period, probably 15 to 18 sales a year came from those blogs, and the secretaries of the schools uh, referring me out. Okay. And I always took care of them well. I brought them Starbucks every usually 2 weeks. But do it about the schools, local businesses. When I lived in the Seattle area, we were in a little town called Gig Harbor. It was a waterfront fishing village, and all the businesses were local. There were no big chains. So I would go into all the art galleries and the clothing shops and the coffee shops and do all that stuff, meet the business owners, frequent their businesses. They would then link their websites to my blogs. They would be posting it in. And what ended up happening in Gig Harbor, small little town, if you would Google anything, auto body repair in Gig Harbor, best coffee shop in Gig Harbor, art galleries in Gig Harbor, my website was coming up first, and the town of Gig Harbor's website was coming up third or fourth. So in 2012, the city of Gig Harbor actually bought my blog from me. And that was almost a year's worth of commissions that they bought that from me for, okay, because they wanted that search engine presence. Okay, so do any local businesses, if there's any government updates, don't, and by government update, I don't mean, hey, the government shut down again. I mean, if there's a new zoning or if there's a new planning, okay, don't take sides, don't post colors. Just if something is coming through your local town government. And then sometimes, if you don't know what to blog about, just post pictures. There is a fun little game that I play. My wife told me to do it on Wednesdays, so I call it Where Am I Wednesdays? And I take kind of an odd picture of something around town where you can't quite see what it is, but you can kind of tell what it is. And I just say, Where am I Wednesday? And if it's a coffee shop or something like that, I give a $5 gift card to whoever comments on where it is first. And so those are all different types of things that you can blog about, but it literally becomes anything and everything. If you go to the movie theaters, talk about the movie theaters. If you go to a farmer's market, talk about the farmer's market. If you have a church that you really like, and you're okay talking about that, I know people say don't talk politics, don't talk religion. People want to know about churches in your area. I'm okay talking about that. Okay, where I go, all that sort of thing. So anything and everything that you're doing, if your kids play on a little rec sports team, talk about it. Okay, and become that expert in it. You can also borrow ideas. Um, I should update this slide. I used to really like Inman News until Inman decided that they could be bought by a couple brokerages, and now they're just, I won't mention the brokerages, but they're just the hype man for two large brokerages. Active Rain has kind of died out. Real Estate Tomatoes kind of died out. If you're not part of the resource.tv, I would recommend logging onto that. Those are some lenders that I used to work with in the Seattle area that have created the biggest video blog in the real estate space. And then business journals, anything that comes across your Facebook feed, or I don't know if TikTok has a feed, but if Mike Chavez is out there and he sees a lender dancing on TikTok with news about the loan rates, he could do that. But anything that you see in the news, rewrite it because it's coming with a negative pitch if you're seeing it in the news. In Denver, our headline was home sales hit rock bottom, lowest level in over a decade. Well, no kidding. We've had a 12-year run up in the real estate industry. We're not rock bottom. We're still 300% higher than where we were in 2009, but we're a third of where we were in 2021. So reframe any of those things that you see coming up. Okay. Um, and that way you'll get into a little bit of a better position to steal those. Okay. All right, I'm going to pause here for a second. Jay, do we got anything coming in yet? My thing flashed at me a couple times.
Jim asked a question, but what is the site with blog info? Resource.tv, the resource.tv.
Yeah, so if you actually, and I believe their site is the resource.tv. But if you just simply Google the resource, it should come up. But I believe it is just the resource.tv. Ryan Hillis is the name of the host of it, and it's just a 3-minute kind of weekly, sometimes twice a week video blog, but it's fantastic. Anything else I need to address really quick, or are we good?
Nope, you're good.
Perfect. Let's move on. We've got about half an hour, and I kind of want to show a few things too. So, next question is, okay, this sounds really fun, Matt. Who cares? How does this help me in real estate? It helps you in several ways. One is search engine presence. And this one is getting harder and harder and harder. So in 2008, it was very easy for me. So I was number one, page one on over 40 search terms around Gig Harbor. Zillow, Realtor.com, those weren't really even in existence yet. Now, if you're trying to get top for Castle Rock homes for sale or Cincinnati apartments for sale or something like that, it's really hard to get search engine optimized. Okay. So next month, we're going to talk about bringing AI into your blogging and how it can help you with search engine presence. I have only been doing this element of it for about 5 weeks now, and I've been shocked. My blog has gone from I was buried at number 8, page 10. So there were, 80 to 90 searches ahead of mine. Since I've started using AI to enhance my search engine presence, it's not writing my blog post for me. I don't want it doing that because that takes the authenticity away. My search engine presence is I'm working my way up to page 2 or page 3, which 15 years ago I wouldn't have been excited about. Now I'm excited about. Okay. The second thing is it helps you become kind of a go-to point for your neighborhood. So I want you to think about this for a minute. If you are interviewing interesting people in your community and you are interviewing the secretaries at your schools in the community, and you are going into all the little local businesses down on Main Street and you're talking to the owners or the managers and you're doing blog posts on them, it doesn't take long before your database starts to grow with influencers. I teach another class called Build a Database, Not a Rolodex. In real estate, we tend to build Rolodexes. We have a name, a number, and an email, but we don't have any data. A database, as far as I know, and I will admit I've done zero research on this, a database should be a base where data rests. So if you are meeting all of these influential people, members of the school board, local business owners, interesting community people, teachers in the school, and you are gathering data on them, that gives you an opportunity to put them into your database and then work your real estate system so that these influencers are bringing you business. Okay. So with the schools and the small local businesses, that's where I was getting probably 15 to 18 a year from the schools, probably another 10 or so a year from the businesses. So I was selling 30 homes a year just from blogging about people in the community. It makes you a go-to point, and people start to know that you are the person to ask. They don't go on to Facebook anymore and ask, hey, where's the best place to get my haircut? They come to you and ask, where's the best place to get my haircut? Okay. Unless maybe you're Jay or Jim, then they're not going to ask you that. But sorry, you guys are on the screen right now. That was totally unfair, but they're going to come in with those types of questions and make you a go-to point. And then what we just talked about, it helps you connect with people. Okay, there are lots of ways to succeed in real estate. The only fun way for me to succeed in real estate is through relationships. I have no desire, even when I was selling short sales, which was accounting for about 50% of my business in 08. I think I did 50, maybe 45 to 50 short sales in 08, or excuse me, in 09. Even when I did that, it was relationship based. I got to know the people that were working the loss mitigation departments at the local banks, and I became the guy to go to. It's all about relationships. I don't want to work with strangers. Some of you may. Some of you may love open houses. Some of you may love online leads. Some of you may love doing different door knocking. I personally don't. I want all of my clients to be my friends. That's kind of, it doesn't happen, but that's what I want. That's how I feel best about what I'm doing. Doing these blogs helps you connect with people and it helps you create a unique brand. Now, I can't do this anymore for obvious reasons, but in 2008 through 2012, my blog name was Gig Harbor Undressed. And the purpose of it was we're pulling back the cloak on Gig Harbor. We're showing you who Gig Harbor is. And we actually started, this gal up in Minnesota had Minneapolis Undressed. And then we started a blogging network and we sold these undressed blogs. We had about 80 of them throughout the country. Um, Probably not the best thing to do. In 2008, when you Googled Gig Harbor Undressed, my blog came up. If you Googled your town undressed right now, I don't recommend doing that. I don't know what would come up, but I don't think it's a good idea to do. So I would definitely change that. Okay. But it helps you create a unique brand. What I'm going to start doing, and this was from a coaching call that I had on Thursday of this past week, I struggle with branding. What is my unique brand? Mike has met my best partner and my biggest advocate. I have a donkey named Moses. So I live on a horse ranch in Castle Rock. I've got several horses and I've got the best looking donkey ever. He's a paint mini, which is extremely rare. And he loves the camera. And everybody that knows me knows Moses the donkey. He goes to schools with me. We run him whenever our school scores a touchdown. He gets to run down the field and back with me. I do burro racing with him. We go to memory care and assisted living homes with him. He's trained and certified to go into hospitals with me. So Moses is well more known than I am. I need to start doing at least a video per week with me and Moses, not about him. It might be my real estate update, but I'm just going to be sitting next to him. And that's going to become that brand. And people will start recognizing me when we do that. I had him down. There was a grand opening of a burger shop in downtown Castle Rock about 3 weeks ago. And the guy is a friend of mine, and he asked if I would bring Moses to his burger shop opening, just have him in the parking lot. And we did. And I was shocked at how many people recognized him just from around town. Oh my gosh, he was at my dad's assisted living. Oh my gosh, is this the one that my daughter was telling me about that was at school the other day? And it became something that people knew me for. So you can create your brand around that. Okay, now I'm guessing most of you don't have donkeys. That's okay. You can still figure out what is my brand. Some people do. There's a guy in the Buffini coaching with me. His is a fedora. He's the fedora realtor and he wears a fedora everywhere he goes. I think it's goofy. He thinks my donkey's goofy. We both sell a lot of homes. It doesn't make any difference. Okay. So when you are blogging, it can help you find all of that. Okay. So things to avoid. And I promise I can't remember who asked me this. She said, well, how do I drive people? That's still coming. Things to avoid. This is super important before we drive people there. Don't try to be perfect. This is hard for me. I was an English major in a journalism track. Like writing is what I do. I love it. And when you try to be too perfect and you try to write like an English major, it hurts the authenticity of who you are. Just let yourself be you. However, don't get too casual. People who like to spell through THRU or never capitalize anything or don't put any punctuation in. Now you don't look authentic, you look slow. Okay. We don't want that. You still need to look like you know what you're doing, but you don't have to be perfect at it. Please, 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 please do not steal other people's content. However, it is perfectly okay to borrow other people's content. If I see a blog post that I really like, uh, most recent example of this, an agent down in San Diego had posted what they say, what actually is. And it was a list of things that she had read in the media about San Diego real estate and then the actual stats. And I thought that was brilliant. So the first paragraph of my blog was I read an article about San Diego real estate called What They Say and What It Is. And I linked to her blog. And then I went and did the exact same blog that she did, only using Castle Rock numbers. I didn't steal her content. I borrowed it. I credited it to her. I linked it back to her. That helps your social media presence, and it's being polite and prevents you from getting caught with any kind of plagiarism or anything. I do that with the Denver Post. I do that with the Denver Business Journal. Anything that I see, Castle Rock Times, anything that I see around where I'm taking their idea, but I just want to make it mine, I will credit them, I will link to them, and then I put it in there. Here's a big one. This is probably one of the more important things I'll say the entire hour. If you start a blog, I need you to stick with it. A dead blog is way worse than no blog at all. If you have no blog at all, people can't find you that way. That's fine. If you have a dead blog, and this is where I was for almost 10 years, people would search for me. My blog would still come up because if you're getting 11,000 hits or 1,700 hits on a post, it stays in Google for a while. And then people look at that and they go, oh, this was written in 2012 and he hasn't written anything since then. I guess he's not still in business. I guess he's not still in business is way worse than never even finding me that way. So if this is something you decide you want to start with, and here's how we'll talk about this next month. You can start writing these without publishing them. So you can have a backlog of 7, 8, 9 blogs while you kind of get your voice, get your feel, get your timing. Don't even publish them so they don't exist yet. They'll just sit right in the back end. And then when you go, wait a minute, I actually enjoy doing this. Then you go in and you start publishing them one by one. And then you know. But just to go out there and do, I think my first blog was something along the lines of, hi world, it's me, Matt. I wonder if anyone will listen. I live in Gig Harbor. Like that was my first blog. And with no exaggeration, for the first probably 2 years, the only comments that I got on my blog were from robots that would just pick up keywords and post it in, and my mother. My mother commented on every single blog post I ever wrote. And it was like 2 years. And at one point, my wife was like, you could just email your mom. Well, yeah, I could instead of blogging to her because she was the only one that was reading it. I wrote one article on a new seafood restaurant that was coming in the actual harbor of Gig Harbor. That was the first one that blew up. That changed everything. But so you might be talking to yourself, but you have to stick with it. Okay. And then please, and this goes for your social media as well. Please do not just promote your listings over and over and over and over and over. Listing is a very weird word. I did do research on this. Where did the word listing come from in real estate? In the late 1800s in the United States, you would go to the general store or to the post office and they would have a book of listings of any real estate for sale in that area. And you would look at the listings in that book. And we've just stuck with that word. Nobody knows what that word means. When you say, look at my new listing, Everybody looking at it's like, that looks like a house to me. Why are you calling it a listing? Okay. Don't just say, check out my new home. People like stories. If you want to blog about your listing, make up a story about it. When I say make up, I don't mean like make it up. I mean create a story. Ask your seller, hey, what were some of your greatest memories? What did you love about this? And then you create a story. Imagine coming into this house, beginning your family, meeting the neighbor across the street who has the kid that wants to babysit. Blah, blah. And be careful because of fair housing and people get offended easier now than they did in 2008 and all that stuff. But create a story around your listing. Don't just say it has a great walkout basement. Imagine how much fun a basement full of middle schoolers are going to have racing in and out. That's different. Okay. So don't just post about your listings, create stories around your listings. All right. This question was asked earlier. How do people find my blog? This is the work of blogging. You have to post it everywhere. It goes on your real estate signs, it goes on your business cards, it goes in your social media, everywhere. So, Key has done something really, really great for you. You all have a website with Key. And within that website, there is the functionality of doing a blog right from within your Key website. So whatever domain name you have pointing towards your Key website, that can become your blog. Now, hopefully your domain is not still mattthompson.ikeyrealtyagent.com. Hopefully you've purchased a more unique. Mine is homesindenvermetro.com. If you go to homesindenvermetro.com, it just takes you straight to my Key Realty website. And on that website is my blog. Now, I'm still trying to find which template. I've only been with Key a couple months. I'm trying to find which template emphasizes that blog the best, but it's there. And I know it's there. So you have a free resource right now to have a good domain name. And you could create a separate domain name. You could have ToledoRealEstateBlog.com, and you could point that to the specific page that is jimhood.toledorealty.ikeyrealty, whatever. So you could have a very specific thing pointing straight at your blog. But the thing that I want to focus on here for the next couple minutes before we let you go is the social media side of things. And how do you do this via social media? You are creating the content that you share. One of my pet peeves as a real estate coach is watching real estate agents share real estate news. When I see people take the Denver Post or the Denver Business Journal and they just share that article, that's the craziest thing for web optimization and lead generation that I've ever seen. You are saying, I'm not the expert, but this guy over here is. You should go read what he has to say about real estate. If you're going to be the expert, read that article, reference that article, link to that article, but then you create the content with your voice, or in Jim's case, and I would say even better, a quick video of you explaining what you just read. Become the real estate expert. If you create content, guys, that's all that the internet is. All that YouTube is, all that Google is a collection of what some robot considers to be the best content out there. We've moved into this era of influencers where it's just shameless and you don't even have to produce content anymore. It's just whoever's the goofiest and gets the most eyeballs wins. But when that kind of gets stripped away, all you're left with is the shame. So if you are creating content and not just shameless goofiness, that makes you as the expert. So instead of sharing, next time you see something that you're about to hit the share button on, go, wait a minute. Could I blog about this, link back to it, give my opinion on it, and create the content I share? You have the opportunity to boost posts to increase readership. So I said I don't do online paid ads, and that's 99% true. Every month when I do my Castle Rock real estate update, I post that on my Facebook page and I pay $20 to boost it, and it gets boosted out to like 900 other people. And then I ask all of my clients and all of my friends to share it. When I do posts like on this Olympian or the one that I'm writing now on this quarterback, and I do a post on a person or on a business, I ask that person or that business owner if they would share my article on their social media, and ask them if they would share it on theirs, and they would share it on theirs. And as that starts getting spread around, that's how it grows organically. It's what social media people used to call the long tail. It grows organically. I had a pet shop in downtown Gig Harbor that had my article printed out and posted on their door. And I said, hey, that's great, but would you mind pinning that to your Facebook page? And they didn't know how to do that, so I helped them do it. And it grew. They had something like 900 views on it in that first week. They said their business went up almost 8% over the next 4 months, and it became a new standard. Guess what? Every time I went into that pet shop, I never again paid for dog food or anything. I got everything for free. Same thing with an auto mechanic. I did one thing. He fixed some brakes on an old Lexus of mine, gave me a great deal. He goes, man, I got like 12 new customers that first. He never charged me again for any auto repair stuff. Okay. And that's not why you do this. You do this to generate it, but like, hey, I need you to share this on your page. You send people to your landing page to increase your reach. So if you have your Key Realty blog, if all you do is a Facebook post, here's my new listing, and it's just your Facebook post. Okay, the only people that see that are people who are on Facebook, and all they see is that listing. If you do a blog telling a story about that listing and you put that blog post on Facebook and say, hey, have you ever dreamt about being within walking distance to this golf course or living behind the elementary school or whatever, and people read that, now not only are you getting the people on Facebook, but you're also getting people who are searching online for those keywords. And when people go click on it, instead of just seeing that house, they're getting the About Me section. They're seeing all your testimonials. They're seeing all of your other listings. They're getting the property search. They don't have to go to other websites, because when they clicked on that listing on your Facebook post, it took them to a full service website that gives them all the information that they need. Okay. And then finally, you have to know your audience. So let's talk about the audience really quick. And this is the part where I will admit I am getting less and less expertish. Okay. Social media has changed a lot over the years. I've kept up with some of it. Yeah, I had to delete Google Plus off of this slideshow before I taught this class a couple months ago, because apparently Google Plus is not a thing anymore. So Facebook is still by far the most popular network in terms of number of users. However, if you look at the average age of a Facebook user versus the average age of a home buyer, it may not line up anymore. Okay. I say, people always ask, well, do you have a personal page or a business page? The only reason I have a business page is because I needed it to automate some things. All of my posts just go to my personal page. And I get a lot of pushback on that, going, well, I don't want people seeing. Well, remember, guys, I want all of my clients to become my friends. So that's what I'm doing. Now, as a result of that, you'll never see me post a picture of any of my kids or post my kids' names or anything like that on there. I'm a little bit more careful about what I post. I did not make any comments about political happenings over the last couple weeks on there. And so I'm careful, but it's still my personal page. You can only boost posts from your business page, so that's an advantage of having it. Invite comments. I have an amazing house that I have listed in Elizabeth, Colorado. It's 35 acres, unreal views. And I posted my blog post and I got nothing. I mean, like nothing. I posted it again about a week later, and I said, if this was your view, what would you spend your time doing? And I got something like 36 comments about I would be on the deck at dinner time. Me and my husband would go for walks every night around there. First thing I would do is I would get goats. So when I invited comments, it went from literally no engagement to 36 comments. And when people start commenting, by the way, Facebook goes, oh, this is interesting. And they start putting it in other people's feeds and you start seeing what your friends commented on. Okay, it's all an algorithm. It's an algorithm that I don't understand. But what I know is the more eyeballs, the more clicks, the more attention. Tag people who are in the blog or would be interested in it. If you write a blog on somebody, tag them. If you do a business post, tag that business on it. Okay. Again, one of my pet peeves about Facebook is realtors going, congratulations to my buyers on their new house. You're not congratulating your buyers. You're congratulating yourself. If you're really congratulating your buyers, you would tag them and you would tell their story. Okay. One that I just put in, congratulations to Andrew and Elena, got out of the rental game into their first ever home. So excited for them. I'm excited for them, and I tagged them, and all their friends can see them. Okay. And then share the same information that other realtors are sharing, but share it in a unique way. Make it yours and send them to your site. Okay. So that's Facebook. We've got 9 minutes. So I'm going to kind of blast through this because I do want some questions. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an easy one. It's very professional in tone. It's not meant for advertising. This is where you can start sharing your market insights, your opinions on the market, your corrections about the recent news posts, because these are business people who want to see that you think like a business person and that you're not just a shiny face on a shopping cart. Okay. Because that's all real estate agents are to most business people. Twitter or X, know who's there and build relationships. They're not looking for people to sell. They're looking for quick, witty things. So don't say like, here's my new list and then dot, 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 dot. They have to click through to see it. Okay. They're looking for want a horse property 40 minutes from Denver. Click on that. Okay. Use a lot of pictures. Instagram, Mike Chavez is your guy on that, not me. I don't use Instagram. I don't use Instagram not because it's not valuable, but because I have my limits. I do not want to. I tell my kids, neither of my kids, I've got a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, neither of them have social media. I don't want to be telling them don't be on social media because it's not good for you if I'm on it all the time. So I have my limits. I think Instagram could be fine. I do not understand Snapchat even a little bit. TikTok, I just kind of have it feels cringy, but there are benefits and drawbacks, but you have to know your audience. These things like Hootsuite that will take your post and then post it to every single social media site, I hate them because it's a different audience. It's like if I had a keynote speech and I got asked to present it at a high school graduation, do a Sunday sermon, go to a Toastmaster club, and then do a BNI group. If I gave the exact same speech at all four of those, it might land on one. And all the others would look at me going, who is this guy? So know your audience and adjust your posts based on them. Best way to do that is just be a lurker for a while. Sit on the social media, read what's being said, see how the posts are being divided, go from there. All right. So, how do I get started? You can use WordPress, you can use Tumblr. Those are both free sites. I'm a big fan. My personal blog is just on the Key Realty website. It's the easiest thing to do. I love doing it. I think it's the best way of doing it. Okay. All right. We've only got a couple minutes. I want to show one thing. This is going to be a teaser for next week. And then we're going to let you guys unmute yourselves and ask any questions. So I'm going to come back into sharing my screen. Okay. Let me. Okay. So this, sorry, I'm having to move my videos around. This right here is a picture that I took this morning. of the Castle Rock Collective coffee shop. This is where I like to go get my coffee. I'm writing a blog on it. That's kind of a crappy picture. I just went into ChatGPT and gave it very specific directions of what I wanted the picture to look like. That's what it created for me. That's my cell phone picture. That was 3 seconds on ChatGPT. I had this crappy picture of the inside of the Castle Rock Collective. Again, gave it very specific instructions, including don't change the verbiage on the sign. I don't want this verbiage changed at all. I just want it to look better and presentable for a blog. That's what it created for me. Okay. Made it much nicer, kept everything the same. So next time when we go through this, we're going to talk about using AI and using your website and actually how to get your blog started. Okay. All right. Jay, do we have anything that we should go through here?
Nothing in the chat.
Nothing in the chat. Perfect. We've got 4 minutes. Does anybody have a question for me or a comment? Have you been blogging? Have you been doing social media? Something that's worked for you that you feel would benefit the group? And you can feel free to unmute yourself.
So I'll say very quickly that I do pictures of wherever the view of my office is today. And I run into people and they're like, "Hey, we love your photos. We love what you talk about." And so that's kind of my tagline, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
benefits me tremendously because it keeps me in front of people.
Yeah. And the thing that I would say that I could add to that, Mike, you've done such a great job on that, and that has become your brand. If that became a blog as well, and I wouldn't change what you're doing on social media. I don't think that I would link the blog to your social media because of the way that you do it. But if you also put that in the Key Realty blog, just every time you posted it, just went in and my view for today, and that was your blog post. My view for today. Grand Junction, so and so, so and so, here's the picture. Now, what happens is when people Google photos of Grand Junction or best coffee shops in Grand Junction, they're finding your blog because they're also seeing what's on social media. So that's exactly what I think we need to be doing for brand management. You do that as well as anybody that I know. And I think that a blog could enhance that through search engine.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. Any other last minute thoughts or questions before we head out? Well, I sincerely hope next time, Wednesday, November 5th, same time, we're going to do part 2 of this, which is going to be a little bit more practical, a little bit more hands-on. I'm going to be actually walking through and would encourage you to have your computer with you, walking through creating some blogs, using AI, not to write your blogs for you, but to enhance your blogs. And really going through, I would love to hear from people if you have any wins in the next 4 weeks, like, hey, I went to my favorite coffee shop, or I went to my hairstylist, or I went to my chiropractor and I interviewed them and I wrote a blog on it. I would love to have those and love to have you share those. But hopefully moving forward, we're going to be doing kind of these business development classes, hopefully monthly. And go from there. But hopefully you guys found value in it. Hopefully there were some things that you can actually physically, tangibly take with you and make a difference in the business that you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and stay on for just a few minutes in case people had questions that they wanted to ask kind of more offline. But yeah, really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you taking the time to come in and to have me here.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yes, thank you so much, Matt.
You are welcome.
Thank you for
And we'll say
taking
go
the time
Reds.
to do this.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, I like your background. It's very very presidential looking.
Yeah, that's Ronald Reagan's
Love it.
office.
Love it.
You know, you always hear, you got to have a green screen. You got to have a green screen. I went down to the dollar store and got a $1 green vinyl table cover, and that's what's up there.
That's fantastic. I love that. And it makes it so you're not all glitchy and everything. That's perfect.
And you don't have any idea how many stupid backgrounds that I've got for this thing.
With Jim, I would believe it with you. So we had a question posted. I want to get to her. She's still on. Do you always post on personal and on business? Yeah. So I try to do about 80% personal and about 20% business is my goal. And even when I do business, the only one that I would say is really, truly, solely business is my monthly real estate update, where I'm just taking those 7 key statistics and literally just here they are. I do a video of me walking through them, and then I post the stats on there. Everything else, like if I'm posting about a buyer that just went under contract or closed, or a new listing that I've got, I'm trying to tell the story of it. I believe that stories are what sell. I think that stories are what creates relationships with people. And I think that people are tired of seeing the same old from everybody. And so I'm trying to tell a story about the house. And you do, and I use, we'll talk about it next time too, but I use AI for that. Please read this blog post and tell me if I've violated any fair housing laws in this blog post. And within 15 seconds, ChatGPT will read my blog post and it's like, you mentioned, it was near a Christian church, or you mentioned it was a family and blah, 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 blah. And it was like, oh, okay, great. So that's what I mean why I use AI to help. I don't use it to write. I want to still be my authentic voice, but I want to make sure I'm not getting myself in trouble. So I will tell those stories and then run it through ChatGPT for its thoughts. But yeah, so and everything else is personal. And sometimes I'll work real estate into that. I did a post on a running store in Castle Rock, and I put in there the Boulder Running Company is the biggest running store in all of Colorado. And I said, everybody's heard of the Boulder Running Company, and I linked to it. And I said, it's the biggest in Colorado. So I made sure I didn't do anything negative, so I wasn't going to get a call from their lawyers. The average sales price of a home in Boulder is 1.4 million. We've got this new running store down in Castle Rock. It's called Red Rocks Running. Average sales price here is only 710. And our little store can compete, blah, 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 and we'll match the price. So it was one of those things of like, yeah, Boulder's the big bad town, but here we have this. And so it wasn't a business post by any means. But I brought it in. I made the average home price as part of it. So it's just however you want to do it. But, all right. It looks like the chat is empty. Appreciate all you guys. It's lunchtime where I'm at. It's probably something other where you are.
Second lunchtime now.
Second lunchtime. I like it. Jay, you just became one of my new favorite people. I had my first lunch. I had my business lunch. I had to decompress lunch. It's yeah.
I'm a real estate agent. I like food.
There you go. See, when I was in Seattle, brokers opens were a huge deal. I don't know if they are where you are at, but every single Thursday, so Gig Harbor was divided into 4 sections, north, south, east, west. And every Thursday you would have brokers opens in a different section, and you would just try to outfood each other. And so, you'd have all the homes in north. Came to Colorado, nobody does brokers opens here. Like they're a non-existent thing. And it really makes me sad because I got free breakfast and lunch every Thursday for my first 10 years in real estate. But
we just started watching $1 Million Listing, and to see these agents do brokers open and spend 20 grand on food, like I wish I got invited to those. We don't have those here.
Yeah, yeah. Ours were a little different. It would be, you get breakfast, but again, that was a great advertising thing because I would get a local bakery. We had a gluten-free bakery that would come in and they would do stuff for me, and then the owner of the bakery would be there, so she would be meeting all these other real estate agents and getting business from that, and it was a great way to get her exposure as well. But yeah, ours were not the $20,000 ones. Ours were $150 to $200. But perfect. All right, guys. Well, Amber, I hope that worked for you, and hope we had a good enough turnout, and we'll keep doing them.
So great. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next
Absolutely.
one.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.